celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. As some of the Prodigy regulars took a pass this week, we began the day with a field of 9 players. They bowled a 1-game qualifier to seed them into a 9-player stepladder for today's championship round. And here they are. Qualifying in the 9th position is Hunter. Will he bowl 2-handed today, or will he bowl 1-handed? You never know with Hunter, but we'll soon find out. In the 8th position is Matt. One of our winners on our first anniversary show, Matt will try to grab his 2nd Prodigy win today. In the 7th spot is Melissa. Not only is Melissa looking for her first Prodigy championship, she's looking to win her first match on Prodigy today. The winner of that first 3-person match will advance to face our 5 and 6 seeds. Qualifying in the 6th position is Hunter, or I guess we'll call him Big Hunter. This Hunter hails from Brunswick Zone Roswell. Their league was off today, and a couple of their kids came to bowl Prodigy today. The number 5 seed is Nolan. Nolan was part of the team that grabbed the championship last week on our Uno Dos Tres show. The winner of that second 3-player match will advance to face the 3 and 4 seeds. In the 4 spot is Alyssa. Alyssa is the other Brunswick Zone Roswell player on our show today. She just missed our show back in April when we took Prodigy to Brunswick Zone Roswell, but this time she'll get her chance to advance up the stepladder. Qualifying in the 3 seed is Tristan. Tristan captured the title in our 7th frame sweat, proving that when the pressure is on, he can step up and perform. The winner of that match will go into the championship match against our 1 and 2 seeds. Qualifying second is Nick. Nick is still looking for his first Prodigy championship, and he'd love to join his little brother Matt in putting his name on the coveted trophy pin today. And our 1 seed is Josh. Josh has grown quite familiar with the tournament leader spot on Prodigy. This makes several times he's been there, but so far, the only championship he's walked away with was as part of a doubles team. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour. A series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches staged by some of the most active and engaged youth bowlers both in our youth program here and from throughout the Atlanta metro area and from anywhere else if they want to come try their hand with us. Here's a closer look at how these 9 young people fared in the qualifying game to set their seeding for the stepladder. Josh was the only one who even threatened to break 200, as most of the players struggled on our pattern this week. They're bowling on the Kegel Highway to Hell oil pattern, a 40-foot pattern that's the flattest in the Kegel library of navigation patterns at just 2.3 to 1 at the 22-foot mark and 1.9 to 1 at the 38-foot mark. You'd better get lined up and then hit what you're looking at if you want to score on this oil pattern. We expect to see a fairly low scoring pace today. And as I often do, I've thrown a slight twist at the kids this week. The name of the show this week is Strike or Else, and here's what that's all about. In each match, we'll begin with 3 players, but we may or may not finish each match with 3 players. Because you see, at any point during the match, if 2 of the players strike on their first ball in the frame and the other player does not, that player who fails to match the other's strikes is instantly eliminated. So when your competitors strike in a frame, you better strike, or else. So it's time to get things underway as we begin match 1. Now, our 3 players in each match are sequenced thusly. The highest seed bowls lead off on the left lane, the second highest seed will follow on the same lane, and our lowest seed in the match will start on the right lane. So in this first match, it'll be Melissa followed by Matt starting on the left, while Hunter will start out on the right. And as usual, they will meet at the ball return and come out bowling. I will teach these kids sportsmanship if I teach them nothing else. It's Melissa who's starting out. She's up on the left. And the big bender brings it back. Here's Hunter. Bowling one-handed. Last time we saw him, he was bowling two-handed, so you never know. Here's Matt. Matt always bowls two-handed. Hunter cross lane for the 6-10. Covers it nicely. And Matt takes care of the 2-4. Well, as you can see, with 3 players, the action is fast and furious, so we may not have time for replays in this situation. And that one hooks high, and Melissa has the 6-10. She's throwing her timeless for her first ball. And look at Hunter playing deep inside over the 4th arrow. He's got the 2-4-5. Melissa for her 6-10. And that's a pitch black that she got over the holidays for her spare. Oh, and Hunter chops the 2 off the 5. That's an open. And there's Matt flush in the pocket. And he gets his first strike of the match, staying even with Melissa. Oh, and Melissa doesn't give that one quite enough room, and it hooks sharply, and she takes 3 off the left side of the rack, and Hunter duplicates the feat. Look at this. You don't see 2-3 counts side by side on the same pair of lanes very often, and I'm not sure you'd want to. 7 out for Hunter. That's another open. Now Melissa. And a solid conversion of the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10. And now Matt with a chance to take the lead. Oh, he falls off balance. Well, he gets the lead for the time being. Nearly fell over. Slipped at the foul line. Lucky he didn't foul. Oh, look out. He turns around immediately. Knew that he didn't give it room. This 40-foot oil pattern will get some back end reaction. Got to give it room. And Melissa doesn't give it quite enough. She could stand to throw it a little harder. As Hunter crosses over, leaving the 1, 3, 6, 9. Melissa gets pretty good rev rate with her two-handed style and doesn't get quite enough ball speed to match up with her rev rate. And here's Hunter going two-handed for the spare, but he borrows too much and drops it in the gutter. Hunter needs to make up his mind if he's going to be a one-hander or a two-hander. It's tough to go back and forth. The only time I've ever seen anyone do that successfully, they bowled two-handed at their strikes and one-handed at their spares. And Matt Sends it a little too wide and leaves the sleeper 9. Well, Melissa gave that one a little extra loft. That tends to make the ball skid farther. And Hunter playing so deep inside. I've never seen him play in here. I don't think this oil pattern is really conducive to that line. He needs to be out around the second arrow. 40-foot oil pattern. The rule of 31 would suggest you'd want to be around the 9 board at the 40-foot mark. There's a spare for Hunter. Matt going slightly high, leaves a 4-pin. He's coming off back-to-back open, so he'd like to cover this. And he gets the spare. So Matt with a 2-pin lead over Melissa at this juncture. Melissa trips the 4, but the 10, even though it has a pin nudging up against it, it just refuses to fall. And now Hunter's beginning to spray it a little bit. I just don't think he's playing the lanes quite right. He's expecting the ball to hook back, and it's not going to on this pattern. There's a conversion of the 10-pin by Melissa. And Hunter left of his target. Matt gives this one way too much room and into the moat. And with that, he surrenders the lead back to Melissa. A big mistake there. Losing 10 pins and count. Wow. And he goes with his spare ball, even though he's throwing it a full rack. I don't understand that move at all. You want to throw your strike ball if you're throwing it at what essentially would be same pins you'd be shooting at if you were throwing at a strike. That's a good one by Melissa. That time she got just the right angle. A little better shot by Hunter, but still a little left of target. Leaves the 5. Easy spare. Well, Matt made a big move with his feet there. He started out about 5 or maybe even 7 or 8 boards left of where he ended up standing. There's a spare for Hunter. Now this is a tricky spare. What Matt is facing. The 1, 3, 8, 10. And he gets it. Wow. Not the way we recommend it, but very effective. All right, let's see if Melissa can put a double up. Nope, breaks high, leaves the 3, 6, 10. Still, she's got a 22-pin lead. And Hunter, Brooklyn with that one, leaving the 5. He's just not got the right angle on the lane. He doesn't throw enough hook to be playing that deep. Maybe if he was throwing a two-handed, he could. An open frame for Melissa, so she's let Matt right back in it. And Hunter covers the 5. And there's a good strike by Matt, and that gives him a chance to close the gap real quick on Melissa. as they begin the 9th frame, the foundation frame. Oh my goodness gracious, it's catching. The 1-3 for Hunter. All but the 2 he was trying to hit. But he covers the spare easily. Oh, and a big mistake. That's 6 out for Melissa. And guess what? Hunter is not mathematically out of this yet. He could still shoot 148. Might be enough. A 9 count for Matt as he leaves the 10 pin. And he covers it, so Matt holds a 4-pin lead over Melissa. As Melissa steps up in the 10th frame. Who's gonna perform here in the 10th? Well, there's a strike. Hunter just about got the strike now. But that's a 10 pin, so the best he can do now is 137. Melissa has that beat already, so Hunter will not be moving on. And a big split for Melissa, so the best she can do, assuming she gets 9 out here, would be 148. That'll give Matt a chance to get up in the 10th and win this match. Well, that's 8 out instead of 9. So Matt needs to fill 15, and he's on a spare, so he's got to be careful with his count here on the first ball on the 10th. Oh my goodness. 6. Well, he needs to make this and fill 9 on his fill ball to win by 1. He has left the 1, 2, 4, 8. He must make it. Oh no! He chops it. And with that, he finishes with 138. It's not enough. And it's Melissa who will be moving on. She will face Hunter and Nolan in our next match when we return. Well, at least in our first match, no one got bounced early under the strike or else rules. Remember, if 2 strike and the other player doesn't strike in a frame, the player who fails to strike is instantly eliminated. But this one went all the way to the end for all 3 players. And even though Matt had a shot at stealing it at the wire from Melissa, he just couldn't convert a tricky spare in the 10th when he needed it. So Melissa advances to match 2, where she'll face the number 5 and 6 seeds, Nolan, one of our winners last week, and Big Hunter. We've been calling him Big Hunter to differentiate him from the Hunter you just watched, but since Little Hunter is out, I guess we can just call him Hunter now. This blue-haired two-hander from Brunswick Zone Roswell is smooth. Wait till you get a look at him. And these three kids are set to go. And it looks like Melissa is going to throw the first shot on the right lane. Oh my goodness. Well, that one doesn't quite get back, and she's got the 2-8-10. I've only seen this made a couple of times in my life. Best bet is to just take the 2-8, swallow your medicine, and go on. Nolan comes up in that half pocket. Nolan throws a lighter ball, so he's pretty much got a hit flush, but an easy spare. Now Melissa measuring things here. And she gets the 2 and the 8, leaving the 10. Nolan with an easy spare converts the 5-pin. And now we'll get our first look at, well, we've been calling him Big Hunter, but he's the only Hunter in this match, so we'll just call him Hunter. His dad said he's never been called Big Hunter before in his life. I told you he was smooth. Trips the 4 and the 9, and that's a strike to start. So now Nolan moves over to the right lane. Crosses over, misses the head pin, and has a tricky spare, the 1-3-9. Oh, Melissa gives it the big loft again, and that makes the ball skid farther. That's no good. She would actually do well to get a little more knee bend, a little less forward spine tilt coming through the release area, and get a little lower so she could roll the ball. Let's see what she can do with this. A full rack for a spare. Much better line, and gets the mixer, and that's as good as 9 spare. Here's Hunter. And look at this guy. I told you he was smooth. Watch this one. We'll take another look at this ball as it just goes right through the 1-3. 10 back. And a strong start. There's where he needs to hit. High flush. He was pretty excited last week after that team win that he was part of. Melissa working on a spare. Let's see what she can do. Sends it wide. This pattern only about a 2-to-1 ratio, so they're not going to get much help. This is nothing like a house shot. Oh, and Hunter goes Brooklyn, and that's 2 strikes. Nolan and Hunter both with strikes in the third. Melissa failed to strike, and guess who's gone? That's the rule in strike or else. When 2 strike and the other does not, the one that does not is eliminated. And here are the strikes that took Melissa right out of it. First it was Nolan, right through the 1-3 pocket, and then Hunter got a little lucky, a little crossover. He pulled it. Trips the 6 and 10, and with those 2 strikes, Melissa is sent home. And she didn't even get to finish her third frame. So we're down to just 2 bowlers in this match. Now the rest of the match will proceed as normal. Nolan with a strike working. And I'm afraid that that is a split. The 5-7. Here's how you convert it. Put the ball over on the right edge of the 5 and slide it over into the 7. Usually about a 3-board move to the left with your feet. Throw it right over your strike target. We gave it a good try. But that is his second open, and Nolan falls way behind in this match. Hunter with a turkey to begin. And he will try to build on his lead and maybe put another one up here in the 4th. And he gets another Brooklyn and another trip 6-10. And look at Nolan. Looks like he's got the left lane down. We'll watch this one again, right over the second arrow. And you can't throw it any better than that. And Hunter gets that one just a little wide of what he's aiming for, and it doesn't quite make it back. The 1-2-4. Nolan up on the right. And another strike, so he puts a double together, and that shaves Hunter's lead by 10. Oh, and Hunter misses the head pin, hooks by. Thing I like most about Hunter's game, obviously he's smooth as silk, but he's in perfect balance when he lets it go every time. As a result, he's got a real steady head through release. That's important. Keeps your eyes focused on the target. When you jerk your head through the release, it's hard to keep your eyes on the target. Nolan nearly trips the 4, not quite. This time, Hunter just doesn't give it room. He misses his target to the left, and he's left the 3-9. Not the easiest spare in the world. Nolan takes care of the 4-pin. And Hunter does not give it enough room to the right. So he leaves the sleeper 9. And now this match tightens a bit. At one time, Hunter was off to about a 42-pin lead. Now, it's down to just 21 after back-to-back opens. Had a little deadwood on 36, so Nolan will wait while the enormous distraction walking back on the gutter cap between 37 and 38 gets out of the way. Well, there's a crossover by Hunter. He's just having a hard time getting the ball out to the right far enough. Nolan gives it a little too much room. And now he's got the 1-2-9. Here's how you make it. Shoot it just like a strike. Put it between the 1 and where the 3 would be. And you'll make the 1-2-9. Oh, he crosses over but gets it the hard way. It's a little risky to hit it over there. It's easy to send that one around the 9, but Nolan converts. And at this stage of the game, he certainly can't afford another open, so that's big. As he moves over to the left lane, taking dead aim. That's his good lane. And he gets another strike. And Hunter goes high, leaves the 6-10. He would love to have caught a double there, but a makeable spare. Grabs his spare ball. He will go cross lane at it. Oh, but he pulled it. And he whiffs the 6-10, and look at this. Hunter's big lead is down to just 10 pins now. And if Nolan can throw a strike here on the first ball in the 10th, that lead that Hunter had will be gone. How about that? This match is dead even. Hunter up on the left lane. He needs to settle himself. Oh, that's left. Oh my goodness, that's left of left. And he clips 3 pins off the left side of the rack. Now the good news is he wasn't working on a spare or a double, so he hasn't lost any pins in count if he can make the spare. Nolan with a 7 count. Hunter's got to make this. Oh my goodness gracious. 6 out. He loses 4 pins in count. Well, Nolan can shut him out if he makes this. That's it. That's it. That gives Nolan 187. The best Hunter can do now is 186. Nolan has made a miraculous comeback. He's won the match. Didn't see that coming. A huge disappointment for Big Hunter, but, well, he will learn his lesson from this. Kid's got some game, but he just made a couple of big mistakes. That 6 out in the 9th did him in, really. And this ball means nothing. The match was already lost. And looky here, one of our winners from last week, Nolan, buoyed with confidence. He's moving on to match 3 next. Each week on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we begin by reminding you that the show is best viewed full screen. And here to show you how it's done are a number of Prodigy heads who sent in their Prodigy selfies. The Prodigy Kingdom is one of the fastest growing audiences on YouTube. And for that, we say thanks. Thanks to you, Prodigy Bowlers Tour is reaching into all 50 states and all around the world. It just goes to prove that there's a real thirst for quality bowling content on the internet. And it might say something about just how alive our sport really is, despite what some of the naysayers insist upon saying. Now, if you want to get your beautiful face on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, Take a selfie in front of your big screen TV, your desktop computer, your laptop, or any mobile device with Prodigy Bowlers Tour playing in the background, full screen of course, and email it to me at randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. Remember to include your first and last name, the city where you live, your age, and what episode of Prodigy you're watching. We use virtually all the selfies we get, so if we haven't gotten to yours yet, it's just because we have a few in front of you, but we'll get to it. And stay tuned to Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Share our shows with your friends on social media. Give a thumbs up to our videos. And remember to subscribe to the channel so you'll get an alert whenever there's a new episode posted. And we'll keep a lookout for your Prodigy selfie. Well, I hated to see Melissa go the way she did, but them's the rules in strike or else. When 2 of the 3 players strike on their first ball in a frame, the player that fails to match their strikes in the frame suffers an early elimination. And after Big Hunter got off to such a strong start, Nolan just hung around, and as Hunter made a few mistakes coming home, Nolan was there at the end to capitalize. So it's Nolan who's moving on to match 3, where he'll face the 3 and 4 seeds in our field. The 3 seed, Tristan, who's looking for his 2nd championship on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and Alyssa, who's making her first appearance on the show. She not only bowls in the Saturday morning league at Brunswick Zone Roswell, but also bowls in the singles sports shot league on Saturday afternoons there. And she's presently leading in her division, so she's quite familiar with taking down the boys in competition. She won't back down. Nolan giving a few words of encouragement to Tristan. I'm sure they're totally heartfelt. Or not. Tristan gets a crossover to start. Take him any way you can get him. Nolan up on the right. High. Leaves the 6-10, and now Alyssa gets a free run at Nolan. Oh, hello! And goodbye, Nolan.
Wow. Tough luck.
Well, that's what happens. And watch Nolan. He's watching to see if she does it, and he knew exactly what that meant, and so did Alyssa.
Okay, so you continue.
And there's Christian. Well, Nolan throws 1 ball. I believe that will go down in Prodigy history as the shortest appearance in a match. Probably not a record he wants to own, but it's his in perpetuity. All right, Tristan a little wide of the mark in the 2nd, leaves the 1-2-4. Move your feet a couple of boards, maybe about 3 or 4 boards to the right, and throw it over your strike target. No, Tristan's playing this down the left side. I don't like this. That widens the gap between those 3 pins and actually increases the chances of a chop. I don't like that angle at all. You want to play that from a little right of your strike target. All right, Alyssa up on the right. And she mixes them up and gets a light shaker. And there's our first double of the match. Watch this. Ball will come in light. The head pin will go to the left wall and shake them up. Actually, the ball drove the 5 over into the 4 and 7. All right, Tristan. And he pulls it left.
and leaves the always tricky 3-9. Not a spare you see right-handers leave all that often because they're usually hitting the 3-pin with their first ball. Got to hit that 3-pin square on the face to carry out the 9. And that's too wide. So back-to-back opens for Tristan. And Alyssa can move way out ahead. She can put a third strike up. Oh, 9 and a wiggle is all you're gonna get this time. Pretty good shot, though. That's a pretty good shot, too. Solid 4. Oh, but she hooks by the single pin. And don't expect these kids to miss single pin spares.
That's all right.
But that gives Tristan new life. Oh my goodness, he gives it right back.
Got this.
And then he makes the pro move, checking the approach and his shoe. Because it could never be the bowler, it's always the approach on shots like that. He said, with tongue planted firmly in cheek. Through the nose, the 6-10 for Alyssa. Tristan with 3 opens in a row. He's given her a huge gift this match. Alyssa will look to convert the 6-10 and give her a 31-pin lead. But no! She chops the 6 off the 10, so the lead is just 20. And we haven't seen a spare yet this game. We still haven't seen a spare. We've seen 3 strikes and 5 opens. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. We've seen 4 strikes and 5 opens. And Alyssa gives that one a little too much room, and it doesn't quite make it back. And she's got the bucket, the 2, 4, 5, and 8. Here's how to make it. Put the ball between the 2 and the 5 with a little hook on it. Carry out the back pin. The 2 will get the 4. Seems easy enough on paper. But she chops the 2 off the 5. And we're halfway through the game, and we still haven't seen a spare.
Come on, you got a lot of
Crazy, man. I expect to see these kids do a little better with their spares. Tristan with a solid strike, and that double gives him the lead. By a pin. That's stone solid perfect right there. And Alyssa comes back with one of her own. Another shaker. She's rooting it on. Get back, get back. And it does. And she likes it. All right, Tristan. Going for 3 in a row. Oh, my goodness. Out the window. This one's wide, and he leaves himself a cluster. the 1-2-5-9. Again, you make this by throwing your strike ball. Put it in the 1-3 pocket, and you will make the 1-2-5-9. Oh, again, he's going down the left side. I don't like this at all. That's why. Well, he hands the lead right back to Alyssa. Can anyone make a spare? Alyssa leaves herself a tricky little spare, the 2-4-8. She had the 2-4-5-8 earlier and chopped the 2 off the 5. She picked up these 3, leaving the 5. This is a little easier than the bucket, but not when you cross over. You've got to stay flush on the 2-pin or on the right side of it to get the sleeper. Okay, we're 7 frames into this match. No one has made a spare. But the lead is just 5. Tristan leaves, well, I hesitate to say a makeable spare. But the 1-2-4, now he played this down the left side earlier. I advise moving your feet about 3 or 4 boards to the right of your strike position. Throw it over your strike target, just like you get a crossover strike. Look at this. My goodness gracious. I'm speechless. These kids are better bowlers than this. There is another strike by Alyssa. And now she moves out to a 16-pin lead. Tristan up in the foundation 9th. And another big pull to the left. Well, let's take a closer look. Maybe we can figure out why he's pulling the ball. Watch his right shoulder. It passes the left shoulder before the ball is gone, and you're going to pull it left every single time when that happens. And he just barely gets the 5-pin, but that's our first spare of the match. That's cause for celebration. Well, Alyssa got the 8-pin to fall out. That makes this a little easier. Actually, that makes this quite a bit easier. The 2-7 for a right-hander is probably the easiest split there is to make. You just catch the left side of the 2-pin with a normal hook ball. The ball will take out both pins. Just like that. Well done. So Alyssa with a 16-pin lead going into the 10th. Tristan needs a double to force her to mark. Well, he trips the 4 and gets the first strike in the 10th. Now he needs one more. He can win this match without doubling, but it would be very, very difficult. The anatomy of the trip 4. Watch the 2-pin. It'll go to the wall, come back, and slice between the 4 and 7, taking both of them out. Tristan really needs this strike right here. But it comes up high. He leaves the 6, so now the best he can do is 147. Alyssa will need good count in the 10th, and that'll do it. Tristan takes care of the 6-pin. So Alyssa is going to need 8 pins on her first ball. And that would lock it up. Well, there's 7. So that gives her 140 in the 9th. If she whiffs all 3, we have a tie match. She needs 1 of these 3 pins, and she will be moving on to the championship match.
That girl.
And she gets them all for good measure, and there's your winner right there. I told you she wouldn't back down against the boys. And now Tristan has asked me if I would blur his face in the production of this match. No dice. There is a strike to finish, and Alyssa shoots a 160. It's good enough to move on to the championship match against our 1 and 2 seeds, Josh and Nick. Next. Prodigy Bowlers Tour presents Legends of the Game. This week, we spotlight a player who transitioned into the broadcast booth and left a lasting legacy, both on the lanes and on the air. Nelson Burton Jr. The son of a bowling Hall of Famer, Nelson Burton Sr., Bo Burton won his first PBA title at the age of 22 in 1964.
And our double exposure camera. Hey! Showed you that Nelson Burton Jr. has come up with the most unusual strike.
6 years later, he was the PBA's Player of the Year for 1970. In 1975, he became the color analyst on ABC TV's long-running Saturday afternoon series Pro Bowlers Tour, where he shared the broadcast booth with the man for whom the PBA's Player of the Year award is named, Chris Schenkel.
Oh, he has many credentials, but the one I like, talking of strikes, is the fact that, May 15th, one of his young years, he, in a 3-game series, a total of 869, he has an ABC-sanctioned record for most strikes, 34 out of a possible 36. Here he is, Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. That's a little unexpected, but that's what we can expect here today, to tell you the truth.
Bo Burton's career on the lanes was marked by major championship victories at the '76 ABC Masters and the 1978 BPAA United States Open. And he was twice a runner-up at the PBA National Championship.
He'll come close. He's coming. It's still in the wood. It's still in the wood.
In 1984, he won his 18th and final PBA Tour title at the AMF Angle Open at Dick Weber Lanes in his hometown of St. Louis. There, Burton set a record for a televised 4-game series, firing games of 278, 279, 257, and 236 for a remarkable 1050 total. That record stood for 11 years until 1995, when David Ozio broke it with a 1070.
Nobody deserves it more than David Ozio.
And then, a year later, Bob Learn set a record that may never be broken with 1129, which included a 300 game.
Just made his 52nd 300 perfect game, but this by far the most valuable 100,000, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Learn, it's our 10th 300 game on television. The last was by Johnny Petraglia his opponent, who shot a .279.
Nelson Burton Jr. was inducted in the PBA Hall of Fame in 1979.
Nelson Burton Jr., youngest ever to get into the PBA Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bo.
Thank you, Chris. That was quite a thrill. Great night.
And 2 years later, in 1981, he was elected into the American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame in his first year on the ballot, joining his father as the first father-son combination inducted into the performance section of what is now known as the USBC Hall of Fame. Nelson Burton Jr., a true legend of the game. It sure didn't take long for Nolan to make an exit. Tristan and Alyssa both struck in the first frame, and Nolan didn't. And that's what strike or else is all about. When two strike in a frame and the other doesn't, well, the one that doesn't is eliminated. But the final outcome of match 3 was decided mostly on spare shooting. Tristan had 5 open frames, Alyssa had 4, and she also had the only double in the match. So, in her first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, Alyssa moves on to our championship match, where she'll face the 1 and 2 seeds. Our tournament leader, Josh, is seeking his second win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And our number 2 seed, Nick, is looking for his first. The ceremonial handshake to get things started. And Josh will throw the first ball of the match on the left lane. Josh has made it to the tournament leader position a number of times, but only has 1 win to show for it, and that was a doubles win with Logan. Oh, that's no way to start. The 2-10. Well, that's no way to start either. The 2-4-10. Well, that's something you don't see every day, and I guarantee you that's something you don't want to see every day. All right, Josh will try to get the ball over on the left side of the 2. But no, an open to start. And Alyssa will essentially try to do the same thing here. Oh, close.
Good try.
But an open for both of them, and that opens the door for Nick. He's throwing a urethane ball. He's just going up the boards, down and in, and that looks like the right solution for this pattern. Josh through the nose and leaves the 3-9. Alyssa shakes him up, and the 4 refuses to fall. Wow. I thought she had a strike there. A little unlucky, I'd say. All right, Josh for the 3-9. Oh, and he gives it too much room. We've seen this before today. So back-to-back opens for Josh. Alyssa gets a spare in the second, and Nick, with a chance for another strike here, he would get off to a big lead early. How about it? Well. Well, Josh and Nick are living proof that it is harder to win on Prodigy than you might think. Josh making a ball change and tried that same line that Nick was playing up the boards. Leaves the 3. And Alyssa puts a strike up in the 3rd.
And now look at this. Nick, who's thrown nothing but strikes, is going to have a chance to eliminate Josh here in the third frame. Josh gets a spare, finally a mark in the match. But now Nick working on a double. That's left. Oh, but he trips the 6. And looky here. Josh makes an early exit. And watch this. Josh is watching. He knows what that meant. He turns around. He was headed up to bowl his next frame, but instead he takes his balls and he's going home. All right, then there were 2. And Alyssa parting the C that time. Looked a little bit like the old can opener. The ball will split the 5 and the 6 on this one, it looks like. Yep. Oh, look at Nick go to town. Gets a late 9-pin to go. See this again. That's a 2-pin that comes all the way off the wall and gets the 9. So Nick with a 4-bagger to start. Doesn't quite get back for Alyssa. She's got the 1, 2, and the 4. Well, Nick crossed over this time. He's got a 5-bagger. 2 of them are Brooklyn's, but they all count. Now Alyssa for the 1, 2, 4. And she gets the spare in the 5th. But Nick has constructed quite a mountain for her to climb. A 45-pin lead through the first 5 frames. And Nick will try to add to it here in the 6th. And the string stops after 5 as he leaves a cluster, and Alyssa crosses over to get a strike. She's going to need to string some if she wants to catch Nick. As he leaves the 3, 6, 10, here's how you make it. Put the ball over on the right side of the 3. Ball will take out the 6. The 6 will take out the 10. And that's how you do it. Well, I won't say Alyssa's got her back to the wall, but it's pretty much down to this. She needs strikes. Oh, she doesn't need that, that's for sure. The 6, 7. And Nick throws a good one that time, tripping the 4. You saw him give it the shake of the fist. Here's what Alyssa's facing, the 6, 7. It's makeable. You got to get the ball way over to the right edge of the lane. Just barely nick the 6. Ooh, she gave it a pretty good try. But that's an open. And that is not going to help. All right, Alyssa still has a possible 213. Nick going at a 237 pace. So Alyssa's going to need a little help from Nick. Well, he put it through the nose. That could have split. But he breaks it up, leaves the 6-10. And she almost trips the 6 all the way across the lane into the 4, but at a time that she needs strikes, spares are not going to get it done. Nick with the spare on the 6-10. Just gets the left side of the 6 to do it. All right, Nick still at a 237 pace. Alyssa's possible score now just 203. So Nick is going to have to throw a couple of opens at her with low count, and that's going to just about do it. That gives him 205 at the worst. The best Alyssa can do is 203, so Nick has this one salted away. He just barely gets the 3. But it's Nick who's going to claim victory today. A good mixer for Alyssa. Well, I tell you what, these last 3 frames, Nick put it through the nose. If Alyssa had strung some strikes, who knows what might have happened. But as it turns out, Nick broke up the split every time. And there's a mark in the 10th. He's going to be in the 230s. The only 200 game we've seen bowled in this Prodigy event. That strike would have gotten Alyssa into the 200s, but not to be. Nick finishes with a 234. Nice game on a very demanding oil pattern. And a spare for Alyssa. She finishes with a very credible 191. Nick with a 234, and we will talk to both our winner and our runner-up when we return.
Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brunswick store. Visit PRODIGYBowlersTour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling. You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brunswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to PRODIGYBowlersTour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. That's PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. Congratulations to a first-time winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, as Nick chose just the right time to fire the only 200-plus game of the event. And in any other match today, Alyssa's 191 would have been enough to win, as she put up a strong challenge. And another tough break for Josh, who made an early exit when both his opponents struck in the third frame. But to the victor go the spoils, or in this case, the pen, as Nick will finally get to sign his name to the coveted trophy pin. Let's meet our winner and our runner-up.
So, it came down to 2. And you bowled in our one road show episode over at Brunswick Zone Roswell. That's where you bowled. Correct, Alyssa?
Yes.
Well, you finished second today. That's pretty good. You almost made the show last time. As I recall, you missed the championship match by 2 pins last time. I remember you tied Karina. I looked that up last night. So, what'd you think? Your first time at one of these?
It was really fun.
You have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah? So, Nick, I keep telling people that they find it surprising, but it's actually kind of hard to win these things, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've tried, how many times is this now?
Like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on a bunch of these, and you finally broke through. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now you know the drill. You get to sign the coveted trophy pin. Pick a spot. We recommend not signing the neck because that's where everybody grabs it. It'll smudge there. Nice.
Say 13th.
Today is January 13th, 2018. So, our winner today is Nick. And he joins his brother Matt, who beat him to the winner's circle here. Way to go.
Thank you.